Good morning, everybody. It is a little bit past 9:30 a.m. here on a Wednesday morning in Chicago. A beautiful day. Temperatures are nice and mild. A little bit of a wind, but hopefully it won't be too much of a bother, because today we're doing a fartlek. We're gonna have a 10-minute warm-up and then 10 times 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off. The 3 minutes on periods will be at threshold pace, something that's comfortably hard in between half marathon and 10K race pace. And the 2 minutes off will be your recovery jogs. Keep it moving the entire time, and then we'll wrap it up with a little bit of a cool down. So we're gearing up. The workouts are going to start getting a lot harder for Chicago Marathon, coming up in about basically a month from now. So getting really close to crunch time. Well, let's do it. Fifth rep complete, feeling pretty good. The reps are hard, but I don't feel like I'm being pushed too hard. Don't feel like I'm wrecked. At least not quite yet. We'll see how the rest of the workout goes. Got 5 more reps to do. Let's go.
We have made it back inside now. I'm showered up, all cleaned up. Now let's take a look at some of the numbers. Overall, 9.42 miles on the day, an hour and 14 minutes and 10 seconds, including the warm-up and the cool down. 7 minutes, 52 seconds per mile on average. And an average power number of, where's that power number? 235 watts. So that tells me about the entire workout altogether, but let's take a look at each of the individual reps together. I'm looking at polar flow, which is kind of my favorite way to look at data, and that's the main reason why I've reviewed a bunch of different watches, but I keep coming back to the polar because I just love the way that I'm able to slice and dice the data and look at it here. So I can see here with some pretty good amounts of specificity. You can see overall the heart rate kind of stayed in the range that I was hoping to for a threshold workout. For me, I know that threshold range is somewhere in the low 170s. That's kind of my threshold heart rate range. And for the first couple, they were a little bit below that, which is what I would expect. But then as the day got longer, deeper into the workout, I'm working a lot harder to be able to kind of hit what feels like threshold effort to me, which, as I mentioned during the race or during the run today, is somewhere between kind of your 10K race pace and your half marathon race pace. 10K race pace for me is, when I'm in 10K shape, which I don't think that I am right now, but when I'm in 10K shape, it's about 6:26 per mile or 4 minutes per kilometer. And then the half marathon pace is somewhere in I think the low 640s or the high 630s. So I want to be somewhere in the mid 630s for my threshold pace, assuming cool conditions, flat surface, and I'm feeling rested. So, and that can change depending on kind of environmental conditions. As I'm looking through here, I can see on my pace that there's a couple places where the pace dips real far. This one right here, the first one is when I stopped at a stoplight waiting for traffic. And then these other times here, you can see there's these little mini dips. That's because after some of the reps, I would stop to walk a little bit rather than jogging the whole way through. After the fourth one, I think that's when I had to reach back in my pocket to get a gel. And then after the fifth one, I don't know why, or this is the fourth one here. I don't remember walking after the third one, but apparently I did. For the fourth one, that was when I got the gel. And then I think there was another one, back here after rep number 8, where I must have walked a little bit. Not sure why I did that, but I was getting pretty tired after that. You could see my highest heart rate of the day was right at the end of that 8th rep, so probably just got tired and felt like walking for a little bit. But I think that's okay, totally fine for the recoveries. As far as each individual kind of rep goes, we can kind of go through that and see what some of the numbers were. For me, the main thing, I wasn't really focused too much on pace or power for that matter. I'm really trying to get dialed into what I think threshold effort should feel like. And I have a couple of numbers to kind of back me up in terms of am I in the right ballpark or not? And so like I was running what I thought I could run for like 40 minutes to an hour if it were like a race type situation. The other way that I can feel if I'm running like my threshold pace is I could feel it kind of like in my body. So when I'm running a little bit too harder than threshold pace, after about 30 to 45 seconds, I'll start feeling it like a little bit of pain in my core, like below the diaphragm and into the abs. I'll start to feel it there. And then if I don't kind of back off, once I start feeling that and I'm continuing to run a little bit too hot, then I'll start to feel a little bit of kind of like fatigue and burning in my legs. So those are the kind of the feelings that I'm looking out for. But I also want to make sure I'm working hard. So I'm kind of like trying to run to the point where I start to feel it kind of like in my abs, in my core area, like underneath the diaphragm. So that's kind of like physiologically what I'm looking for, or like kind of like intuitively what I'm looking for. But like in terms of metrics, what I'm looking for again is that like mid 630s for pace number, and also for power, something in like the low 280s. And that's, I think, where my threshold power is for me. And again, heart rate is going to be somewhere in the 170s, depending on how deep I am into the workout. So for this first one, we came at a power of 279 watts, 163 beats per minute, and 627. So pretty fast, even though there's low power there. So that one I'm feeling good about, but it's my first rep, so I should feel pretty good about that one. The second one, 285 watts, 624 minutes per mile, and 166 beats per minute. Again, a little bit faster than I probably should have gone, but I'm feeling good. It's only rep number 2. Rep number 3, we've got 166 beats per minute, 623 in terms of minutes per mile, and 287 watts. So I'm putting in a little bit more work to get a little bit faster there. It's still pretty flat in terms of where I am along the lakefront, so not too much in terms of hills. Not that there's many hills. There's only like 2 hills that I encountered today for today's run. But yeah, this one running a little bit hot, and that's being reflected in both the power number as well as in the pace. And then here on lap number 4, we've got 166 beats per minute, 284 watts, so kind of like right where I want to be, and 6 minutes, 41 seconds per mile, which is, I think, pretty close to my half marathon, like my PB pace. And here you could see that there's a little bit of a grade, a 3% grade at the kind of tail end of this. This is where I'm getting from Oak Street Beach up to the Navy Pier flyover. So like the end, unfortunately, the end of the rep ended going uphill, which, you know, stinks for time and like pace and power numbers, but, you know, probably good for me in the end. So I wasn't too upset about that. And overall, I'm still very happy with what those numbers were and how I felt on that rep. The next one, we have the downhill, because we do the flyover. You're basically going on like an overpass and then you're coming back down it. So I had some downhill there, and that helped out. So the heart rate is 165 beats per minute. So staying nice and low, relatively speaking, for a threshold effort. And the power number is also low, 275. But the pace is still pretty fast, faster than 10K pace for me. So 623 minutes per mile. Then we'll keep going, and I'll try to get through these quickly. 167 beats per minute, a little bit of uphill. 287 watts and 627 minutes per mile. So ultimately feeling good about that. Pace is good. We've got the next one at 168 beats per minute. The heart rate is increasing a little bit, but that's also because I was running faster, 621 minutes per mile. So definitely running a little bit hot, and had the benefit of a little bit of a downhill on this one as well, because the wattage number is pretty low. So then the next one, we've got 284 watts, 6 minutes, 31 minutes per mile, 171 beats per minute. Those numbers are pretty much like bang on, exactly where I want to be for my threshold reps. 282 watts for the next one, 6 minutes, 31 seconds per mile, and 170 beats per minute. Again, feeling really good about that one, both in terms of the watts, the heart rate, and the pace. All those things are kind of lining up where I want them to be. And then let's see how many. This is the last one. 6 minutes, 32 seconds per mile, and 172 beats per minute. So I'm working a little bit harder and harder, and 281 watts, and the wattage is going down a little bit. But overall, feeling really good about where this workout was. Overall, like, it was a tough workout for sure, but it was one that felt manageable for today. And also, I feel like, I didn't completely like empty the tank. So if I want to do another workout later this week, which I do, hopefully in 2 days, I'll be able to do another one, do some mile repeats. That'll be something that I'll be ready for. So today's fartlek was a threshold effort, hopefully moving forward, as I feel a little bit more confident in building upon kind of today's work, the Wednesday workouts will turn into, maybe I'll do them on the track, but they'll be more towards 5K pace. And so that'll be a lot more intense, although keeping the rests nice and long so I can work on speed and power. And then the Friday workouts will be those threshold intervals. And so those are the kind of like the two paces that I'll be focusing on really for my marathon buildup, both for Chicago and CIM, is 1 time a week, getting a lot of time and effort at 5K pace, working on running fast. And then on another day in the week, my other quality session is going to be spending time at threshold pace, where I believe the body likes to be worked at in order to gain a lot of stimulus response. And so that's the plan going forward. I'm not going to complicate the workouts too much. I'm probably going to do a lot of these same workouts over and over again. Probably not this fartlek workout as long as things are going well, because the threshold work will then just become the mile repeats only for the week. And again, going to those faster workouts for the shorter session. So that's the plan. I'll be combining that with long runs on the weekends. So kind of 3 quality sessions a week. It's a lot, but I feel like I've been building up a lot of base. So I feel like I'm at a position where I can just do a lot of this finishing work, kind of cram it in at the last minute at the end of this marathon training block, because I've been doing a lot of other kind of aerobic work all throughout the summer. So that's the plan. If you have any questions about it, feel free to put them down in the comments below, or better yet, feel free to stop by the live stream I do Monday through Friday right here on YouTube. And I'd love to be able to talk to you in the chat. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?